Hello and welcome to the Kopala TV main news. We get straight into the headlines. Roan lawmaker counsels mine unions. D-Day in Chilubi poll draws closer as competing political groupings intensify campaigns. Opposition Patriots for Economic Progress (PEP) lauds landmark Malawi constitutional verdict. Constitutional Court upholds the election victory of Romeo Kangombe as Sesheke UPND MP. Join us in a bit after this. To present the news in detail, my name is Wabwila Musongole. Roan Member of Parliament Joshua Chishala has urged unions in the mining sector to be sincere and sensitive when handling the welfare of miners in the country. Mr. Chishala says unions in the mining sector risk losing their relevance if they continue disregarding concerns from their members. Blessings Malama has the rest of the details.
Unions in the extractive sector have been holding talks with mining houses on improved conditions of service for members for the last 3 months now. Some of the talks for improved salaries and other conditions of service have been concluded successfully. So far, the major unions have closed talks with Kopala Copper Mines KCM management, where workers have been awarded a 500 kwacha standalone pay rise. This development has not gone down well with miners who had initially wanted the 500 kwacha to be tied to their basic pay. Apart from KCM, the Mine Workers Union of Zambia, MUS, and the National Union of Miners and Allied Workers, NOMAO, have also concluded pay talks with Mopani Copper Mines MCA management. Mopani has awarded employees a 7% pay rise across the board. MCM employees have rejected the pay rise, accusing unions of being insensitive in the manner in which it has been handling the welfare of miners. Miners expressed their misgivings over the 7% pay rise by demonstrating to MUS head office at Katilungu House in Kitwe. Joseph Chishala is the Roan opposition NDC lawmaker and former miner and unionist. Mr. Chishala, who is also NDC National Chairperson for Labour, says the 7% pay rise is a mockery to MCM employees.
That wrangle between the union and the employees, I think it's a good move for the employees, because they need also to put their foot down and demand what is due for them. That 7% salary increment is not worthy for a miner.
Mr. Chishala insists that miners in the country deserve better conditions of service.
It's not worthy in the sense that when you look at the 7% and the minimum salary rate that is currently prevailing in the mining industry, I'll give you a practical example of a 3,000 or 2,500 of a minimum pay in the mining industry, adding up with a 7% to it. To me, it's just a 200 salary increment. So 200 salary increment is nothing with this economic situation we are in. Fuel has gone up, electricity has gone up. How do you expect someone to survive?
The Roan parliamentarian has also been watching events at Chambishi Metals that has been placed under care and maintenance owing to liquidity challenges at the firm.
Chambishi Metals, the issue of care and maintenance, my suggestion is this: let the care and maintenance be, if the care and maintenance has to prevail, let the employees remain on salary, on payroll, until government find another partner who's going to take over the operations, rather than sending the employees out, pay them their package, because that package that you are going to give them is just going to finish within few months, and those guys will be vulnerable.
Unions in the extractive sector seem to have a lot on their plate. The year 2020 has started with challenges, and miners are eager to see what their elected representatives will do as they tackle cross-cutting issues affecting the mining industry. Blessings Malama, Kopala TV News in Kitwe.
The Opposition Patriots for Economic Progress (PEP) has commended the Constitutional Court of Malawi in the handling of that country's dispute over the 2019 presidential election petition. Diana Kafwala has the rest of the details in the following report.
It is a landmark ruling that has made headlines on top news channels in both Africa and beyond. The decision by the Constitutional Court of Malawi to nullify the 2019 presidential petition is an act of patriotism and deserves commendation. Opposition Patriots for Economic Progress President Sean Tembo says what is even more pleasing is the fact that members of the Malawian court allegedly rejected a bribe of 20 million United States dollars and instead opted to protect the legitimacy of the electoral system of their country.
As Patriots for Economic Progress, we are obviously very, very happy with the outcome of the Constitutional Court in Malawi, in which the court basically withstood all kinds of pressure, including bribery, to be able to come up with a verdict to nullify the 2019 May elections in Malawi, where President Wamtalika was voted in. We are particularly hopeful that our own constitutional court here in Zambia will be able to pick up a leaf or two from the impeccable conduct of the Malawi Constitutional Court when it comes to handling of presidential elections.
The United Party for National Development UPND President Hakainde Hichilema says African countries have a lot to learn from Malawi.
It didn't happen in this country. It has happened in Malawi. We're so proud of that Malawi Constitutional Court bench. And I hope we can all learn something from that ruling, that you cannot continue cheating the people, the very people that gave you an opportunity to save them, especially in those roles. So congratulations to the opposition in Malawi.
But the PF Media Director Anton Mwanza says there is nothing extraordinary about Malawian Constitutional Court judgment. Mr. Mwanza says Zambia and Malawi are two different countries with two different constitutions, and it was therefore folly and unmerited for anyone to attempt to use the ruling in Malawi to attack the Zambian judiciary. The Constitutional Court landmark verdict in Malawi will see the small tiny nation holding fresh presidential poll. Diana Kopala, Kopala TV News, Kitwe.
Meanwhile, Malawian opposition leaders are still celebrating the annulment of President Peter Mutharika's win in May last year. For the opposition, faith in the current Electoral Commission has been destroyed, and they are calling for all members thereof to be fired. We monitored Al Jazeera for this report.
Verolano Mbeza says business has been slow for months. Months of anti-government protests over last year's disputed presidential election sometimes made coming to work to sell his goods difficult. Constitutional Court judges recently said that vote was marred by widespread irregularities. Some people may have voted more than once. There was ballot stuffing and some numbers were changed using typewriter correction fluid. They nullified May's election results and ordered a rerun. The businessman says living in a country that seems to always be in election mode isn't good for his profits.
It is affecting to us as business people. To survive here in town, we need to have our business to be going on well. So it is very difficult for us to make business.
After Kenya, Malawi is now the second country in sub-Saharan Africa to recently have a presidential vote overturned.
The court has ruled that Peter Mutharika stays in power until a new election takes place. Parliament is expected to meet within 21 days to set a date for that election. For Malawians, it means more political and economic uncertainty.
The opposition is still celebrating Monday's court ruling, and many are preparing for a new election. Opposition leaders want election officials fired.
What the judges have done is to give Parliament an order to make sure that what they have ordered in terms of a fresh election in 150 days should happen. And so we will look to Parliament now to make sure that these things, modalities are put in place and that it is actually possible. But I don't believe that anybody will have confidence in this Electoral Commission at all.
Ruling party officials say they are considering their options.
They have two options. The first is to stick in, follow the ruling, and get ready for a fresh election. And that means a lot of politicking within the party, whether the present candidate will continue to be the candidate in the fresh elections or they want to change and things like that. The second option is for them to go to the Supreme Court and appeal. But they really have to look very critically at the ruling to find suitable grounds for appeal.
If a legal challenge is launched, some here fear it will plunge Malawi into further crisis. Harumatasa, Al Jazeera, Lilongwe.
The Constitutional Court has upheld the election of Romeo Kangombe as the rightful winner of the February 5, 2019 Sesheke parliamentary by-election. Constitutional Court Judge Martin Museluke, who delivered judgment this morning, dismissed the 2 grounds of appeal by PF's Dean Masule. Last year, High Court Judge Gertrude Chawatama, sitting in Livingston, declared Kangombe duly elected after the PF candidate petitioned the results, citing violence and character assassination. In case you have just tuned in, you are watching the Kopala TV main news. Now we go for our commercial break. Join us after that. Samaria Limited is a versatile company dedicated to meeting every need any of our customers may have. With us, you're guaranteed to have a pleasant and easy shopping experience with the best returns for your money's worth. We guarantee the best customer service in addition to the finest quality beverages at affordable prices. We have all your hardware requirements, from roofing sheets, wiring, piping, and much more. At Samaria Limited, we believe in good workmanship. Working well with one another is what gets our job done. Stationery is an essential. Whether it's a pencil for your personal drawings and designs, or a roll of paper for the company printer, we've got you covered. We stock various brands simply for your preference. We have an Airtel booth within our premises with airtime ready and available for all customers. We also offer Airtel Money services for easy money transactions and efficient clerks to attend to you, ensuring a fast and smooth procedure. If you're in need of any electronics, our store should be your go-to, with appliances ranging from household specifics to industrial commodities such as generators and inverters. If you need it, we have it. Our wholesale store stocks the best quality in food and other products, including cleaning necessities. And above all, our affordable prices ensure that you know how much we value you. You can find Samaria Limited along President Avenue North, opposite Zambia Railways in Dola, or call us on 0212 613 336 or 0212 619 992. Samaria Limited, your one-stop center for all you need.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
Welcome back. UPND Chilubi parliamentary candidate Stanislas Chele has condemned the violence that has characterized the run up to next week's crucial poll. Details are in the following report.
UPND Chilubi parliamentary candidate Stanislas Chele has thanked the people of Tufenge Ward for overwhelming voting for him in the 2016 elections when he stood as an independent candidate. Speaking when he held a meeting ahead of the February 13th poll, Mr. Chile called on the residents in Tufenge Ward to do the same thing in the forthcoming elections. Mr. Chile also condemned the violent activities being perpetrated by the ruling Patriotic Front. He said the people of Chilubi should vote for the UPND so that it serves as a wake-up call to the PF.
kuno kwa Shimali njembera chipwenge ino mwali mpotele mwali mpele amafoti ukutira babayashi banafundanga namutotela mkwai eliyocho ndefu yakunga nyepo chakutira green uno mwaka uyu mulungu pali chine ndefu yanomba paya mwafu chichema foti paya muchishepo yae panda ichi pakutila tumone okutila zintu zonse vyalondoloka bwino mwe bantu bandi kuno ine ekuntuntuko pamusipaka fwelegeta entuntuko yandi eko navyalilwe lelo nayakulira kwa matipa uko batata bale bombe ntito ivyo vyonse mwalibishiba biposta ponesta sana nomba mwe bantu bandi mu 2016 naliminine ka independent naleyendela fine mwine nakamotoka limitwasako ne chimbayambaya limitwasako na mamotoka yambira abiri twakwete naleyendela fete kwali ugwapya uno muku ukwakula ichilonga ino cha UPND nganingwa.
Msachile said the people of Chilubi should not make a mistake and vote for the PF candidate Mlenga Fube.
Mlenga Fube watu ukusunga mwana kashiumo n'abana wese amupele afiro kuchitesho eukata sunga munga kamsangwezi eukata kama kutuone msozi kwende pano mwe bantu bandi bushina tekutusura kuti twatode Mlenga Fube tekutusura kusura mishi ala ikingi n'abalanda natitampe abena chirubande lokubiraki natule kokugamba menshi ukutidesi tuleta nomba isi utwala kuluma bakutira cyane amenzo yalemoneka amenzo Yesuke tumone ibyakuya kuntansi Zambia.
Reporting from Chilubi Highland, I'm Lavdi Kayombo.
Still on Chilubi constituency, members of the opposition National Democratic Congress NDC party have accused the PF of failing to take development to Chilubi. The party has also urged the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, to avail affidavit forms for polling agents to opposition political parties. Blessings Malama reports once again.
In the next 7 days, Chilubi constituency in the Northern Province will have a new member of parliament. 5 political parties are jostling the tightly contested parliamentary by-election. Political parties vying for the seat have been holding various meetings across the vast island. However, Chilubi residents have a lot on their mind. The residents of Chilubi Kopala TV has spoken to say development has been elusive in the area. The residents have accused the PF of failing to open up the area. NDC members feel voting for a lawmaker from the opposition will change things for residents here. Apart from the UPND and NDC, the opposition UPPZ and PAC are also contesting the Chilubi seat besides the governing PF. Reporting for Kopala TV News, I'm Blessings Malama in Chilubi.
The Northwestern Province has received 7,500 litres of pesticides to fight the fall armyworms in the region that have continued ravaging crops. Details are in the following report.
Northwestern Province has received its share from the government-sponsored fall-worm chemicals being distributed to the small-scale farmers in the province. The province has not been spared with the invasion of fall-worms attacking maize fields in the province. This is why Northwestern Province Permanent Secretary Willis Manchimera is here to receive the chemicals.
In its continued effort to secure the crop in the 2019-2020 farming season. Government of the Republic of Zambia under the leadership of His Excellency the President, Mr. Edgar Chabalungu, has delivered a number of consignment of 7,500 liters of lambada to combat the foreworms. You may recall that 4,000 liters of Libidstein were initially distributed across all the districts in the province.
The permanent secretary had an appeal to make to the Minister of Agriculture in the province.
So you are the eyes of the provincial administration. Wanapako has ensured that this chemical or chemicals were received are utilized accordingly. Going by the statistics given, I think if we utilize this lambada properly, I think we are going to have food security in our province.
And Northwestern Provincial Agriculture Coordinator Derek Simukanje disclosed the total infestation rate in the province.
I want to appreciate maybe the status of the situation in the province. So far, we have about 15,665 households that have reported the presence of the pest in their fields. These numbers amount to about 5,774.64 hectares infested with the pest. The prevalence of the pest in the province is around 16.8%. The crop damage is estimated to be at 745.17 hectares. So that is the picture which is on the ground.
Distribution of the chemicals has since commenced, with the district collecting from the provincial office. Krivach Tuta, reporting in Sorwezi, Northwestern Province.
In case you have just tuned in, you are watching the Kopala TV main news. Join us after this. Samaria Limited is a versatile company dedicated to meeting every need any of our customers may have. With us, you're guaranteed to have a pleasant and easy shopping experience with the best returns for your money's worth. We guarantee the best customer service in addition to the finest quality beverages at affordable prices. We have all your hardware requirements, from roofing sheets, wiring, piping, and much more. At Samaria Limited, we believe in good workmanship. Working well with one another is what gets our job done. Stationery is an essential. Whether it's a pencil for your personal drawings and designs, or a roll of paper for the company printer, we've got you covered. We stock various brands simply for your preference. We have an Airtel booth within our premises with airtime ready and available for all customers. We also offer Airtel Money services for easy money transactions and efficient clerks to attend to you, ensuring a fast and smooth procedure. If you're in need of any electronics, our store should be your go-to, with appliances ranging from household specifics to industrial commodities such as generators and inverters. If you need it, we have it. Our wholesale store stocks the best quality in food and other products, including cleaning necessities. And above all, our affordable prices ensure that you know how much we value you. You can find Samaria Limited along President Avenue North, opposite Zambia Railways in Dola, or call us on 0212 613 336 or 0212 619 992. Samaria Limited, your one-stop center for all you need.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
Welcome back, and now for international news. The Chinese coronavirus continues to spread as the first of its fatalities outside China has been reported in the Philippines. Many other countries have banned the entry of Wuhan natives in an effort to protect their residents. We monitored the BBC for this story.
Well, the coronavirus continues to spread at speed. This time a week ago, there were under 3,000 cases in China. There are now more than 17,000 and more than 360 people have died. Outside China, there are more than 150 confirmed cases, and we now have a fatality in the Philippines too. And in a bid to contain this virus, some countries are denying entry to any people from Wuhan, the city where this virus began, and China's accusing some countries of overreacting and stoking panic. For example, it's unimpressed that the US has declared a public health emergency and is denying entry for all foreign nationals who visited the whole of China in the past 2 weeks. And if that's the Americans, this is what the World Health Organization is saying.
There is no reason for measures that unnecessarily interfere with international travel and trade. We call on all countries to implement decisions that are evidence-based and consistent.
Well, in China, millions of people are going back to work after the Lunar New Year holiday. We have these pictures. First of all, you can see people, well, these are public areas being disinfected, and we know that there have also been fever checks at transport hubs to try and spot people with raised temperatures who may have the virus. Workers are also trying to disinfect these public spaces, and China's urging an urgent appeal for more protective suits, goggles and masks because it's running low. We also have these pictures from Manila in the Philippines. There's been a rush to buy face masks there after a man from Wuhan died. And then this is Hong Kong, where hospital staff are going on strike. They want the border with mainland China to be completely shut. Well, next let's focus on the experience of being in the city of Wuhan. It remains on lockdown. People aren't being allowed to leave or come in, and those who are there are being encouraged to stay at home. We spotted this one Russian man who works there and filmed this.
Wuhan, around 5 p.m. Sunday. On the street you can see only fake people. Fake people here. Fake people there.
And remember that new hospital that was promised in Wuhan? Well, it's finished. This is a time lapse of it being constructed in 9 days. It's now admitting patients, and these images have been enthusiastically distributed by Chinese state TV. It's also been showing this graphic as well, a cartoon with the machinery involved in that construction being hailed as heroes. There are other images circulating on Chinese social media of fan art featuring these machines. A lot of it created by people stuck inside cities currently locked down. So here's one digger with a big love heart in front of it, or you've got this one here, and this one's been given a nickname, the Cement King. Now, several countries are trying to get their citizens out of Wuhan. Let's focus on Australia. These are Australian evacuees waiting for hours at Wuhan airport before eventually being flown out. 89 children were among those on board. This is the first plane of Australian citizens and permanent residents to be flown out, and this is where the plane landed, in Western Australia. But before passengers were put onto those, once they'd landed there, they were put onto smaller planes and immediately taken here to Christmas Island. It's very much known for a large immigration detention centre, which you can see there. This will be used to house the Australians in quarantine. They're expected to be there for 2 weeks. We also have these images released by Channel 7, which shows some of the medical facilities that have been put up there. You can see here an inflatable room to be used for isolating any potential confirmed cases of the virus. It's known as a negative pressure because it allows fresh air in but stops potentially contaminated air from getting out. Well, since 2003, thousands of asylum seekers have been detained on Christmas Island, well off the mainland of Australia, under Australia's refugee policy. At the moment, though, it just houses a family of 4 Sri Lankans who are fighting deportation. So the plan here is to house the Australians who've been taken out of Wuhan and house them on the island in the short term. But there are concerns, particularly about whether there are adequate medical facilities. Indeed, not all of the 600 Australians in Wuhan have chosen to leave. Here's a woman who did leave, explaining why. She said, "I got a lot of pressure from my husband. He said the situation is not very good. All the other countries have started to close the borders. He said if we stay over here, it would probably take a couple of months to get out of Wuhan. So he started to get really nervous." And she got on the flight. 4 flights carrying evacuees are now scheduled for the rest of this week. Now, 2 other important parts of this story are misinformation and racism. We spotted this post that's been widely shared in Australia, supposedly from an organisation called the Department of Diseaseology Parramatta, except that it doesn't exist. And the information in it, advising people to stay away from suburbs with large Chinese populations, is baseless. So saw this from a doctor in Australia. She tweeted, "A patient made jokes about not shaking my hand because of coronavirus in front of my team. I've not left Australia. This is not sensible public health precautions. This is racism." Well, on misinformation and conspiracy theories around the coronavirus, here's Will Summer, a tech journalist from the Daily Beast.
We're seeing a lot of these fake claims, whether it's, drinking bleach to ward it off or the idea that this is spread from Chinese people eating bats. These frankly, many of these ideas are frankly very racist that are blowing up on social media. So it's tricky. We've seen some tweets from even epidemiologists, people who are experts in this field, get taken out of context and really blow up online by people who are, very concerned about coronavirus. The solution, I think, is very responsible reporting and people really, going to the experts on this rather than sort of seeing what's going viral and running with that.
Well, we saw this article by a journalist called Angela Hoy, written in the Metro newspaper. In this article, she highlights some of the media coverage she's taken exception to. For instance, this is the Herald Sun in Australia. It has the headline, "Chinese virus pandemonium," with the word panda highlighted. And she's also written about her personal experiences here in London, in particular, one incident on the Underground.
A white man about in his 20s, 30s, sits down next to me and then immediately shoots back up and gets up and then mutters under his breath "Oh, I'm not sitting next to a coronavirus," and then goes across the carriage and then sits somewhere else. And at the time I was just kind of taken aback by it, did that really just happen? And not really thinking too much about it, and didn't really say anything at the time because I was a little bit in shock, and also I didn't really want to kick up a fuss about anything because I think that's what happened.
And now you've shared this story, have other people come to you and said, "Well, actually, I've experienced something similar"?
Yeah, actually, quite a few people have experienced the same thing. The problem was when the coronavirus broke out, it was around Lunar New Year as well, so a lot of people weren't allowed to go back home and visit family because a lot of people were on lockdown. And it was quite sad as well in Chinatown. Many people in Chinatown,
in London,
London Chinatown, a lot of people didn't, were avoiding the area because of, fear over catching something or catching coronavirus. And another girl that I spoke to, she was also on the tube, and then she saw a man, she witnessed a man holding a newspaper, and then there was a group of East Asians that just got on the tube, and he was just using a newspaper to cover his face and like this kind of thing, getting away from them. And then as soon as they got off the tube, and he just kind of relaxed, and it was just this. I think it's just kind of really sad that everyone's being lumped together. It doesn't really matter if you're East Asian, Southeast Asian. Everyone's kind of lumped together. It doesn't really, regardless of whether if you're Chinese or not, which is the sad thing, I think.
And in your article, you weren't just talking about your personal experience, you're also highlighting some of the media coverage that you've taken issue with. Have you been surprised by the tone that you've seen in some newspapers?
To be honest, I'm not that surprised, because I feel like a lot of East Asian discrimination is just not really reported on, and it's often ignored. And I think these scaremongering headlines are just, thinking the worst, and it's making everyone think irrationally and do irrational things. And it's just, causing up a frenzy where everyone's just scared And yeah, I think it's just very unfairly the way that everything's been reported.
And there's much more information on the coronavirus via the BBC News website.
And finally, in foreign news, the Iraqi government is encouraging its people to switch from imported fuel to locally produced gas. However, users are exhibiting resistance to the move in spite of sensitization by the government. Al Jazeera has the rest of the details.
That's the sound of a cleaner start. Adil's taxi now runs on Iraqi-produced liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG. His daily fuel cost is nearly a third of what he used to pay for regular petrol.
For sure it is more economical and hence more profitable. Instead of paying $16 per day for fuel, now I pay around $6.
It's mandatory for new public transport vehicles to install LPG kits. Although the law was passed in 2016, it was only implemented a year ago. The oil ministry is subsidizing the installation. Instead of $1,000, it costs around $400 to install an LPG kit.
Any new project faces resistance. The oil ministry has tried to tell people that there is no danger as the cylinder doesn't explode. The kits are safe and with international standards. The gas kit is safe and complies with international standards. There is propaganda to defame the ministry's efforts. It just needs some time so people start to understand the benefits of LPG.
There are up to 6 million cars in the Iraqi capital. More than 500 are registered every month with no new roads or bridges. 3,000 officers and 600 cameras still can't prevent gridlock. The traffic department is encouraging the use of alternative fuel, so at least Baghdad's public transport spews fewer emissions.
We have installed gas kits on different types of vehicles. There have been no accidents or explosions. Through word of mouth, other drivers are also beginning to see the benefits.
That's the case among many drivers who've started using gas-powered taxis.
Yes, of course. I encourage all drivers to install it. It's safe and nothing wrong will happen.
People say it's not safe to use the gas kit. I have witnessed 2 incidents with friends' cars who did not have the kit. Their fuel tank caught fire because of loose wires in the fuel pump.
Iraq is the second largest producer among oil-producing OPEC nations and is trying to reduce its gas flare at refineries.
Much of Iraq's liquefied petroleum gas is a readily available byproduct. The pilot phase in public transport is meant to reduce the carbon footprint and expensive refined fuel imports. The government plans to expand it to hospitals, restaurants and even homes, but it still needs to convince Iraqis that it is a safer, cheaper and cleaner alternative. Sama bin Javed, Al Jazeera, Baghdad.
To end the Kopala TV main news, let's recap on today's headlines. Roan lawmaker counsels mine unions. D-Day in Chilubi Po draws closer as competing political groupings intensify campaigns. Opposition Patriots for Economic Progress (PEP) lauds landmark Malawi constitutional verdict. And finally, Constitutional Court upholds the election victory of Romeo Kangombe as the Sheka UPND MP. Thank you for watching the Kopala TV main news. My name is Awila Musongole. Pleasant viewing.